wearing short pants and was not wearing short pants when they told it to you. So
see, now
there.
that makes the compliment oh so much better. And best off, I got a cable for my controller. So now I can play with my expensive wireless Xbox controller wired up to my computer, but not have to worry about the batteries running out. And Geralt doing like his own little rave dance party.
So I'm gonna have to mute the stream because I'm getting echoes.
But you can hear everything else though, right?
Yes.
Technical issue solved. It is, of course, important to remember that I don't know what the hell I'm doing with this, so like it's a learning experience all around.
Yeah. So I have a controller for my computer. It's an Xbox style controller, but it's actually a USB cable. I picked that up when I was playing Dark Souls on the computer.
Yeah, that's what I did a fair amount of research into, like, you know, what's a controller that doesn't absolutely suck. There's a oh yeah I left after getting absolutely hammered by an arachnomorph.
Yeah, so that's
Gonna go away.
the only way to really handle them is dodging.
But I'm good at dodging.
Good at dodging.
Okay.
Also, whenever you encounter enemies that have skulls on them, you just go for it.
Well, I mean, yeah, because for lack of a better term, and I the sad thing is, she would be, she'd be very sad to hear me phrase it this way. Mama Fuller didn't raise no bitch.
So, what are your skills right now that you have on your character?
I think it's mostly like you know, like punching people. I upped my my oil effectiveness. I finished getting my window set up there. All right. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Actually. Tommy, would you do me a solid and pop something in chat that make? Hey, what up, Phil?
Hey, Phil, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear Tom?
Horrible delay that chat has.
Yeah, I don't know if they're like filtering it to make sure that nobody in chat is playing. I don't know if they're like filtering it to make sure that, you know, there's not COVID misinformation or anything like that, but all right. Tom, you are coming through.
So if you go to the like list of what your skills and stuff are, and go to the one that's for your various signs, so the sign Igni, the one that like makes fire, there's a skill for that one that's very useful that makes it to where if you light a enemy on fire, you reduce their armor effectiveness by I think 50%.
Ooh.
Like that one's super useful.
Melt armor. So we're gonna go on ahead and put a point in that. And then activate it. Right there, thank you. And effect scales with sign intensity up to a maximum. What's the generation exploding shield? We're gonna want that one too. But I don't have, like, they give you all of these things that you can buy. And then, don't give you the ability to,
So my Geralt is like almost entirely combat and general skills, because the combat ones are really good, and the general one, I want to say there's one for like increasing the amount of time you can hold your breath and like increasing the speed at which you regain stamina.
now it may have just been, you see the levitating crows? It may have just been the fact that that the last time that I was trying to swim, my Xbox controller was telling me no. Or it may be the the fact that it was like going between the control and the keyboard. But I found swimming hellish, and I want to do as little.
No, it's pretty garbage all around, but by the time you get to Skellige, there's so much stuff that's underwater. You're definitely going to want to pick up that thing that makes it to where you you breathe faster, and then you're also going to want the skill from the combat stats that lets you fire 2 crossbow bolts before you have to reload.
But I think I have found a bug in that I'm telling this guy that I wouldn't mind to look at his stock, and it's not bringing me to a shop.
That's
yeah, it's so I think it just comes off as Geralt's trying to hook up with this dude. Apparently he doesn't have anything to sell me. Geralt wouldn't mind to look at his stock.
Maybe back out and try it again.
I don't have any money anyway. The game imitates real life, and
what? The
I
heck?
ain't
That's
got
real weird.
I ain't got no money. Okay, so now it's telling me that that way lies death on my map. Is the frog out of my league right now?
Yeah, so if you go to your quest log, it should say what level is associated with the quest.
I'm a ways away from 32.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Yeah, no kidding, quest diff. All right. So then in that case, let's let me bring up my map, and I'm gonna have you lead me to this Bloody Baron guy. Because like another thing that people may not realize is I have a terrible sense of direction in real life, and it doesn't get better in video games.
If you do that quest, the Nilfgaardian connection, it will lead you to the Bloody Baron eventually. There's just like 3 or 4 more steps before you get there.
Okay, so that's there.
So if you like zoom out, move up to your like north a bit, like a bit more. You see that island that kind of looks like it has a castle on it?
Yeah, like
that's where the Bloody Baron is based. That's also, if you see that green chest, that's your storage box. So eventually you'll be able to drop stuff in there that you don't want to carry anymore.
Ooh. Okay, so regardless, I need to go the end at the crossroads.
Yeah.
I can swing that. I am by the Garen Estate. I think I can fast travel there.
Yeah, I would go to the Garen Estate, fast travel to the Hangman's Tree, and then ride that way.
All right, so that was north ways.
Come on.
All these birds. But like, yeah, I have no sense of scale for maps, and I get east and west confused. So It is always a fun time, me trying to navigate, anywhere.
Anytime I see...
Did Geralt just make a horse noise? Oh.
Anytime I see you ride through a group of crows like that, the hunt showdown part of my brain freaks out a little bit.
Go.
I'm, trying to dismount. Oh, I gotta hold it. Got it. Alright. I mean, Roach was doing some cool tricks, but, not what I needed him. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. We're gonna go there. All tutorial messages are saved in the glossary. Oh, that's okay. Phil, don't worry about offering advice. That's why I have Tom on the call.
There's seriously like a
minute-long delay.
Yeah. At least 30 seconds between what we're talking about and what is showing up on the YouTube feed.
Yike.
OBS like super slows stuff down.
Weirdly enough, I don't think it's OBS. I just think that it's YouTube.
Maybe.
Like OBS just takes what I have on my screen and is like, here, YouTube, this is what you want to display on the live stream. YouTube's just, you know, I don't know, maybe I think everything is algorithm fed. The singularity is going to be a lot more insidious than I think, people realize. It's not going to be like, you know, Terminator style exo robots stomping us down. It's just going to be our phones refusing to do things. I don't feel like Geralt is taking safety seriously when he runs with a sword like that. Excuse me, ma'am. This guy just speaking Welsh? I mean, I'm gonna take the quest, but I don't want to work for them.
That's the Elven language.
That's Welsh.
Yeah.
I know Welsh when I see it. Mostly because they use things like app.
Then both forces attacked, one from either side. Cavalry swooped in from the wood.
Sir, what's the button command for me to put away my sword? Got a reputation to think.
Which sword do you have out?
I want to say the steel one.
Hit left direction button.
There we go.
Step away.
Gentlemen.
Captain's praying, can't you see? Do not cast him out, Roderick.
Roderick, do not cast him out.
What do you want? Rejoice, for even a creature as depraved and base in nature as you can serve the glory of the
Oh, I think that this guy underestimates how depraved and based I am.
corpses on the battlefield.
I always like running into these guys on the side of the road.
Already rotting in mass graves. This is not right. That's to be my good deed for the day. A handsomely profitable one, I might add. I know your kind don't work for free.
What, capitalists?
I'll take care
The
of it.
priests of the
This will
eternal
count
fire,
amongst your medics.
they're all over the
No good
place
one
in Novigrad, and you get to mess with them pretty
Yes.
hardcore.
Are they just like really big Bengals fan or what?
Dash generously and set a light, understood?
So I haven't read any of the books, which is something that I might rectify in a week or two.
Once I've incinerated
Uh,
where will I find you? I shall be
You know, if I If I get a wild hair and decide, like, man, I should read everything Witcher related.
So they're like fanatics who believe that by burning things they will purify them. So recently they've been on a tear burning anything that has to do with magic.
So I've probably killed some of their dudes before. Were they the ones that tried to burn that elf chick?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I killed their guys, but that's okay. I'll take their money too. Okay, so that quest is on. Should I go do that before I hit the crossroads, or just hoof that way?
I mean, it's all up to you what you'd prefer to do. Most of the little side missions around here will let you explore a little bit more of the map.
All right, let's funeral pyres. Wow. All right, well, let's explore a little bit of the map then. Maybe. Okay. That's there, and third one. Okay. All right.
Phil is presenting us with options for possible banter.
Hit me with one of them.
So he says, I don't think there's anything I wouldn't want to hear. Current events is always depressingly pleasant. Good anime and TV, question mark. And then he also said evaluating the current state of long versus short pants. Which we know that we will never agree on that topic.
No, we shan't. Tom has a tendency to wear short pants, much in the same fashion as a sad Victorian child, which a lifelong Texan, mind you, I believe is a terrible way to comport oneself. Now, Tom, being from initially the North, says, "Oh, it's too hot. I wear jeans every day of my life." Or at least I did prior to the pandemic. But now, it bears noting that these days, the concept of pants itself has gotten significantly more shaky. Do I have to igni this, or
I'm not sure. It might be place a bomb.
I've forgotten how to scroll through. Okay, there's Quinn.
Also, I noticed that one of the things that you fought there was a
rot fiend.
A rot fiend. You seem to be aware of the fact that those things explode. So
Yeah. Once they start moshing. Okay. What's the command to fast? I feel like my mom playing Mario games now.
It's one of the bumpers. I'm just not sure which one.
That's the one.
Left bumper or right bumper. I'm not
sure. There we go. All right. Where? Yeah, it's douse it and igni it. Cool. Okay, well, 1 down, 3 to go. Or 2 to go. But yeah, so I don't think that I don't think unless they are playing basketball or a part of a fanciful parade involving depictions of the Dutch boy, that adults should wear shorts. That's just me, because I don't wear shorts. Granted, the other reason that I don't wear shorts is because I am disgustingly Scottish, and my legs contain enough whiteness to blind people, and I don't want to be a public health hazard. Kilts, though, okay. But shorts? Nah. But Tom and I will never see eye to eye on that.
Not so long as Texas remains hot.
Well, yeah, but you know, like, not so hot that that one must debase themselves with the wearing of shorts.
So Phil brought up the idea of talking about good anime, and one of the animes that I've been watching recently that Jen actually got me to start watching is My Hero Academia.
Yeah, that's been the hotness for a bit.
We have binged through 4 seasons of that show in the last like week and a half. I like it a lot. So I have or I should say had a once a month RPG night. Like you've been at the Night's Watch a couple of times when we've been in there to play.
Best game store in town.
Yeah, and once everyone is COVID protected, we're going to be bringing that game back together. And one of the potential games I put out there for me to run is a game called Masks, which is the Powered by the Apocalypse take on a superhero game.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically like a young superheroes like Teen Titans. And all of the the playbooks that you play in it are they don't decide like how your character, like what superpowers they have. It's more like what kind of a superhero are you. So like one of the example ones is like the Legacy, where your parents were both superheroes.
Yeah. I think we talked about this earlier, and I recommended that you, instead of making it a My Hero Academia style game, that you style it after the Disney original movie Sky High with Kurt Russell.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Sky High is definitely going to be one of the inspirations.
But let's see, good anime. I haven't been keeping up very much. I mean, I have enjoyed My Hero, but I haven't like been keeping concurrent with it. So I think I'm at I think I'm like midway through season 3. But let's see, what was the other one that I like to like find, you know, my old favorites, and then go back through the old shows and reminisce.
And just see how cringy they are now after the fact.
Well, I mean, look, Ranma 1/2 wasn't really aging well at the time. But it got it out of the way early. If that makes sense. Like, that show kind of embraced what it was and still manages to retain its charm for me.
I have like a huge backlog of anime to watch because most of the anime that we watch is on Hulu. And up until recently, we had Hulu with ads.
Mm-hmm.
And watching Hulu with ads, specifically anime, is you just want to rip your teeth out in frustration. There's like 5 commercial breaks in a 24-minute anime episode.
Wow.
I'm done with this damn town.
But now that we upgraded it to the no ads when we acquired Disney Plus, and now I can finally start going through it. So I've got like all of Full Metal Panic to finish, and Psycho Pass,
I'd say so.
Fairy Tale. Like there's a whole bunch of them that's on my list to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not the time I got reincarnated as a slime, I've watched a couple of times, but like, isekais kind of, they're all sort of the same to me, so that's kind of, I wouldn't say that I avoid them, but I don't put them high priority.
Nothing. Didn't pay me to burn the living.
No, I don't know what's good. My girl Tiffany has a Plex server with some shows that she enjoyed. So I usually go to her for recommendations, but I have been lax on that as well.
Yeah. Do you have Amazon Prime?
I think we do.
So for TV recommendations, I need to look up the name so I make sure I quote it right.
Now for a shot of Igni.
Their new series.
I'm gonna step back this time because last time I lit myself on fire.
So there is a series on Amazon Prime called Truth Seekers.
Oh, with yeah, the Ghost Hunter with Nick Frost.
Yes. And
yeah, we
Simon
watched that.
Pegg. Yeah, so Jen and I finished that a couple weeks back, and that series was absolutely amazing. Like the perfect combination of funny and creepy.
So for a while, Amanda was really getting into like not British dramas, but specifically British crime dramas. There is a show like I don't know if you need like the BritBox subscription, because I think much in the same way that I had to buy an additional cable for my controller because it was just chewing through batteries. I need to hot dogs. Ha. But she watched a show called Death in Paradise that I think you may be able to get on Amazon Prime. That is a show that I would say is actually worth paying the extra money for extra, you know, crumpet crunching, H dropping, how you doing, governor, content. And, you know, and don't, you know, don't read me wrong on this. I am, I'm gonna loot your stuff, my dude. Yoinkity yoink.
You see how effective Igni is on some enemies?
Yeah, I always forget to use my signs. It's,
Wouldn't mind a look at your stock.
This guy will sell me stuff.
There is one sign that you should really get used to using, and that is
it
the
hard?
The mind control one. I can't remember what its name is. But that one is useful when you're up against either bandits or soldiers, because sometimes there are some that are very good at blocking and counterattacking. But if you hit them with that sign, it completely freezes them in place and you can just take them down.
Good to know. Alright, I stole all of the Nilfgaardian outfits.
I mean, I kept them. I put them in my box.
Yeah, I'm only gonna keep one pair of the trousers. I don't need 3 identical pairs of shoes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alright. I got anything worth buying? Powdered pearl.
I mean, I don't bother buying.
You're like, I'm just a thief.
Well, like, usually you'll just find better stuff in chests anyways.
Yeah, like I just ripped everything out of this guy's chest, so.
I mean, the developers of the game specifically said, like, steal whatever you want. There's no mechanic in the game preventing you from stealing, so take everything that isn't nailed down.
You said that, but one time at a Nilfgaardian outpost, I opened a chest and they ran me out of there. That's
really weird. I've never encountered that before.
It's if you go back and watch one of the streams, I was like, whoop, sorry. I think I even said, Tom told me there was no theft mechanic.
Yeah, I haven't had that happen to me, and my Geralt takes everything that isn't welded to the floor.
And some stuff that is.
I mean, if I can use Igni to get it up, I'm definitely going to steal it.
But no, I'm trying to think of the last anime that I watched, but Amanda watched a show called Midsummer Murders.
I've heard of that show.
So
it's on Netflix, I think.
Yeah, I think some seasons are on Netflix, but that show has been running for like 20 years, right? Like that show is like a bandit. You don't... Does Geralt even know his mother? Damn it. Ow.
I don't know if I can definitively answer that question.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's a little extreme to call me a whoreson.
The show implies that he does know who his mother was, but I don't know if it's true to the books.
Oh, I need to eat something. Whoa. Hold on to that fire for me, would you?
I'm gonna step away for just a second. I got to let a couple puppies go outside.
Ah, your weird little gremlin dogs.
Yeah, they're demanding attention.
Oh, look at little Mr. Flourish. Yeah, let me repair my weapon real. Just take a moment. Hold on a sec there, deserters. I'm just gonna sharpen my steez. But no, this I cannot recommend Midsummer Murders. I'll explain why when Tom gets back, because he desperately needs to hear this. Don't let up, says the last guy in the camp. Oh, no. Oh, there's this guy. Another horse boy. Shut up. Another 2 horse boys. You hear a weird thumping noise, Phil. It's because Q is outside and is quite upset that I'm apparently talking to somebody without him. Haha, got your legs. Loot these fools. Let's see, good anime. I've of course really enjoyed Demon Slayer. I saw recently that they're going to be releasing the Demon Slayer movie in theaters, and I love every part of that except the theaters part. Stop trying to reopen society, y'all. Like, we're not there yet. But if you haven't watched Demon Slayer, check it out. It may, you know, it's your like standard pedestrian stuff. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's all anime that I've seen before. Until like episode like 19, and then you're like, oh, this is real good. This is real good, and it's been building towards this the entire time, which I appreciate. I like a story that's not afraid to be like, no. Take your time. We're gonna slow burn it.
I have returned.
There we are. Okay, so... That's why I couldn't talk to this weird guy, because he was in a cage. Recognize from you from your goofy glasses and stupid hat anywhere. So the game was like, hey, talk to this merchant. Wait, don't talk to this merchant. He's locked up. Wouldn't mind having a look at your stock. I'm in a cage. But no, let's see. So Midsummer Murders, right? Tom, this show consistently drove me nuts.
Isn't that the show where basically everything is, I wonder who did it? It was the pores.
It was the pores, or druids, or an incestuous nobleman. But like it was the class disparity
What kind of pass are we talking?
infuriated me to this haircut infuriated me to no small end, because every time like they would show one of the pores, right? One of the people who was suspect of these terrible
Dress up like rabbit and buy a gilded carriage for that much.
a terrible and completely avoidable, you know, like subplot, right? Like, oh, Lord Kensington was murdered at the at the village Myrtleberry festival. Yeah, I know, dude. So, all right. I'm not gonna give this dude 100.
No deal.
Yeah, there's multiple ways you can get passes. There's like someone who sells forged ones, and then you can get one from another source. Like, there's a bunch of different ways.
Nearby,
All right.
just to the southeast. My sister's husband
But,
has a business. He and some lads tidy up the whole
Who's
field.
this dude?
Problem is, there's
I
always
feel like that
some
guy in the
shit
background is like,
you know,
he's
some monster
what?
drawn to corpses.
Ooh. I feel like he's just taunting us. Like he's just watching and is like, "Oh, are we on camera? Eh? Are we on camera?" What's delusion level 1? Okay, I'll think it over.
All right. See what I can do.
Is he dabbing back there? Guy. But no, so it would be like, you know, you'd cut to this guy who, you know, is the suspect of
Just to interrupt for a second, I would not recommend doing this mission yet. Go do
I
something
shan't.
else.
Yeah,
because
I'm returning to the Priest of the Eternal Fire first.
They're going to throw a whole bunch of
Hi, Bill.
they're gonna throw a whole bunch of ghouls at you,
Mhm.
and if the dude dies, like it's an escort mission essentially with a whole
Ew.
bunch of ghouls thrown at you, and if the dude dies, you get
Have you
nothing.
completed your
Ah.
task?
Make sure to save before that.
Yeah.
So, how confrontational do I want to be with these guys? Eternal
have to-
question.
Catch up. I'm not sure.
I mean, I could just tell them I took care of the graves, but instead I think I'll poke them too.
So late.
The Church of the Eternal Fire's first duty
Here's
is
to the living. But no, speaking of druids with terrible fashion sense, so like Midsummer Murders would have these crimes where it's like somebody killed Lord Kensington at the Myrtleberry festival. It might be one of the poors, and then it would cut to the poor in question, and you'd have this guy who's like living in a he's living in a house that is 5 times the size of mine. It's apparently very old, but it's, you know, like this charming rustic cottage. And this dude, the poor, is like the village chicken lifter.
Awfully interesting story to tell.
And he'd be like, I wake up every day and I lift the chicken and then I put it down again. And then I do the same thing at noon. And I survive at merely a pittance. This house has been in my family for 3 generations, but I don't have the money to afford to upkeep it. They only pay me £50,000 a year to be the village chicken lifter, and I would just get enraged. Like, I would just be because it's such a shift, right? Like,
It reminds me of when MSNBC puts out those. This is a budget that works for a family of 4.
precisely where you got some guy that's like, oh man, it's getting really hard out there for the middle class. Like, take me, I only made $500,000 this year. I could only afford to take 4 vacations, and it's it's really hard out there. And I was like, you what? Like, there were moments where we've had to rely on like friends to keep us food secure here in America, my guy. I'm really happy that that our situation is to the point where we can like still manage to make mortgage payments, and I am super privileged on that regard. Meanwhile, Midsummer Murders is like, oh, it might be one of the poors. He only makes £50,000 a year, the village chicken lifter. There was literally an episode where
Also,
the
village-
mystery, get this, the source of the mystery was it was set in a posh British school, right? Like a boarding school. The murder in question was done by was done to the head of the Pudding Club, which was apparently a social organization at this school that would have fancy desserts. The murderer literally killed people with a giant silver spoon. Tom,
that might be the most British thing I've ever heard in my life.
Tom, it drove me nuts, and every time Amanda would watch it, I would like slowly simmer with class rage.
As an aside, village chicken lifter also sounds like the job of someone on House Hunters who has a budget of $4 million.
Right. There is no like. There is zero chill between yeah, it is. I've always had a problem watching even like back in the day we watched Veronica Mars, right?
Such a good show.
It was a good show. It would have been, I think, a lot better if I didn't immediately hate all of the like preppy, rich, upper class characters.
The storm, damn it.
I do not feel empathy for them, Tom. I find it difficult to even see them as human.
So I know this was 30 seconds ago on the stream, but anytime you come across one of those notice boards, just take everything off of it.
Okay.
Because that's where you get quests. And sometimes it'll put map markers on the map for you.
Giddy up.
All right, horse friend. Yeah, I was up here. Okay.
I wonder if YouTube can do anything about this delay because it is aggravating.
Well, that's okay. I mean, it allows me to, having you here is actually working out quite well because it allows me to focus on game. And if anything cool comes up in chat, yell it at Tom and,
Go, go.
all right.
So while we have transitioned to some political topics here, can I express?
He said,
just how-
licking his economist chops.
Can I express just how important it is in modern society for people to know what the phrase precariat is?
Like,
So many people think they are middle class when they are 100% part of the precariat.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it like theory is dry, right? Like that's always the problem with anything. People are like, I don't, you know, it's easier to get like pop culture assumptions on things, right? People say things like, oh, well, you know, like communism, they were our enemies in the 80s, so communists bad. And it's hard to kind of break through that. Is Geralt queer? I mean, quite possibly. I play him that way. But no, anytime you get somebody who's like, oh, I don't really, you know, like I don't jibe.
These are the dudes who you will have to protect
if I talk to them. So don't talk to them. Cool.
Yes.
All right. I was gonna do a thing. Yeah. Alchemy. No. Inventory. Where's my oils? All right. I want to put necrophage oil on.
So eventually, in addition to the ghouls, you'll start coming across, I think they're owl ghouls. They're another enemy that you're gonna want to use that like mind control sign on, because they're normally covered in spines, but those spines mean if you hit them,
you take
also
damage.
Take damage.
So I need to ask him to put them away.
Yeah, command them to put them away.
I think Geralt's more polite than that. Come on, Tom. I don't think you're giving our boy enough credit for his social niceties.
So eventually you're going to be able to make an oil for your steel sword that does more damage against humans.
Ooh.
And that'll be one that you'll probably keep on there like forever. There's one for the steel sword that does more damage to humans and one that does more damage to animals.
Hello.
Come out.
Quiet. Wait until he leaves. I'm not gonna leave. Dwarves.
You last eat.
Oh, children.
Back, half a charred squirrel, and a handful of berries.
A chart. Yeah. But no, anytime somebody's like, I don't really like communism, like what are we as you know, we communists supposed to do? Be like, hey, well, here's some books written by an old white guy with a completely different set of experiences than you. You know, like, read Das Kapital and then get back to me about what you think about economics.
Don't read Das Kapital.
I mean,
Ever.
it's good stuff, but it's not well written. It's kind of like Tolkien, right? Like, everybody loves Tolkien stories. Very few people actually like Tolkien's writing, because that dude is going to go on and on and on about Tom Bombadil's beard, and you're just like, get to the battles. I want to hear about the cool things. You know, like literally can't see the forest because he's spending too long describing the trees. So theory is like hard to get behind, and it's a lot easier to kind of like sway public perception in terms of either like pop culture perception or just the most widespread news that people consume. So we've been told for so long that like the middle class is, you know, is people that have, say for instance, apartments or rent homes, and that they're doing pretty well because they're not, you know, like living on Skid Row or slumming in the streets, or since the Reagan era, you know, God forbid, living in Section 8 housing, you know, being one of the dreaded welfare queens. We're all a paycheck or two away from absolute financial devastation. Like,
John, you may think that, you know, you're close to being poor, but have you considered the fact that J.P. Morgan did not have a microwave?
He he had people who cooked his food for him. He didn't need a microwave. He basically had indentured servants, like...
But John D. Rockefeller did not have a TV, and you have a TV.
I do
so
have a
therefore-
TV. And that's always the hard thing with, you know, the concept that that there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. Look, I'm playing on on like a pretty decent computer, right? Like I've got a green screen. I've got a fancy pair of headphones that no longer make the back of my head look invisible. I could afford to eat at Whataburger today. Lots of other people can't. But like that's the kind of thing that the only reason that we were able to do that was because we got back the stimulus of our own tax money, mind you, that allowed us to pay off the bills. Like, it is just all these people who were like, well, you know, we can't afford to bail out the lower class, or otherwise it will disincentivize them to work. They are working. And they're working 10 times harder than the theoretical middle class. The middle class barely even exists. It's a very small subset of the population.
Yeah, it's pretty much like what used to be conceived of as the middle class is now the upper middle class.
Mm-hmm.
And people who are middle class or lower middle class are really just like
Got company.
the
The
next
working
level
poor.
of poor. Yeah.
Innkeep, vodka.
All right, so this guy was trying to warn me away. Am I gonna have to murk these dudes?
Who's this? Brave.
Okay, Chinstrap, I already don't like you. Look, the two of these guys together make one functional beard.
What's the point of having two swords?
Wonder if he keeps an extra prick in his trousers too.
You fuck.
Yes.
Gonna say who you are, or do I need to loosen your tongue with me knife?
All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to kill all these guys.
I'm always a big fan of getting Geralt into every
Someone who'd
confrontation
prefer
he
not to
possibly can
bothered
be
while
in.
he's having a drink.
Hear that? We've a distinguished gentleman in our midst.
Shine your boots, governor.
No,
Govna.
wouldn't want the grime in your hands to rub off on them.
Oh, he call you dirty. Bartender's like, dude.
Did you hear what I heard?
Go away. Or I'll kill you.
Don't make fun of people for not being able to grow good beards. No, I get that, but like, that is... One guy's like, don't worry, Val, I got the mustache for this group covered. And the other guy's like, I've got the beard. Okay. I should probably pull out a sword, huh?
Sometimes it's fun to just beat some ass with your bare hands.
Tom, this is a family stream.
Sorry.
Have you any idea what the Baron will do?
But the so you were talking earlier about theory, and I mean I have a lot of defining characteristics. I don't consider myself a Marxist. I consider myself a Marxian.
Marx. I'm Marx-esque.
So Marxian means that I do ascribe to Marx's critiques of capitalism, but I don't necessarily subscribe to his ideas for what the solutions are.
Don't know where
I'm very much on the more libertarian side of socialism, mutualists, syndicalists, anarcho-socialism, that sort of thing. And I think reading theory by people like Proudhon or Kropotkin is a lot easier than reading theory by Marx.
Right, but it's still a real hard sell to be like, oh, don't read Marx, read The Tyranny of Bread instead. It's still written, or The Conquest of Bread. Yeah, I mean, it's still a book written by a crusty white guy, right?
I'd rather you not make any more trouble.
Who looked like Santa.
Well, yeah, but so did Marx. He just looked like angrier Santa.
He did
Like
look
the
angry.
Like, what was it, the Kurt Russell hot Santa that was going around social media for a little while? But look, like, looking at it, and like, I would be loath, or I suppose not really that loath, to call myself a, alright, I need to make sure I have the right sword. Is it left for the, is that my steel sword?
Left is steel, right
is silver. Okay. Let me get my loot, and then I gotta kill, are these the Bloody Barons, boys? That dude was carrying cotton. You, pal.
I think these guys are Temerian deserters. Because the Bloody Barons guys wear red.
Noted. But no, like, look, we just spent a we continue to spend ungodly, unimaginable amounts of money yearly on our military budget, right? So when we have infrastructure spending bills or any kind of, it's always any sort of relief for the poor, right? Which again, paid for with our taxes. Not mean to get on the horse, I wanted to take stuff. Anytime that happens, it's always like, oh, we can't afford it. Yeah, the CEO of Boeing gave himself an extra 140 million this year, you know, just as a treat. $140 million would make a tremendous difference in the lives of tens of thousands of people if you gave that to them instead. And that guy did not do the additional work. He did not provide the additional labor of 10,000 people. Missing Tamara Stranger, daughter of the Bloody Baron. Every reward for whoever finds her or brings her in. There's a Romeo and Juliet type thing, isn't it, Tom?
Sorry, I was reading something. What is the?
You're reading The Conquest of Bread?
No, I'm on Wikipedia.
Catching up on theory. No,
what was the quest?
No, it's just the wanted sign for the Bloody Baron's daughter.
No, it's going to be a lot more complex than that.
Oh, good.
Like his whole plot line is amazing, and it's one of my, I would say it's my second favorite plot line in the game, from how far I've played. The best plot line I think in the whole game is the succession crisis for the King of Skellige. Trying to figure out who's going to be the successor.
Not the successor.
Yeah, not the people breaking away, but who's going to be the new High King of Skellige.
But no, man. Like, if there's anything that that the continual and recurring crises teach us, right? And for example, the freeze that we experienced. If we have any viewers who aren't in Texas, all of my stuff is kind of like Texas centered because I don't travel anymore. But like the freeze, right? The government was real slow to help anybody out. But neighborhoods got together. Like, we had neighbors that I hadn't even really spoken to because I'm the only punk rock adjacent person in my rather bougie neck of the woods. So I try to keep to myself lest I bring down everybody's property values. We had neighbors coming over and being like, hey, we have some water. Do you guys need water? You know, like, hey, we had these steaks in our freezer, just making sure that you guys still have food. Meanwhile, Ted Cruz was flying to Cancun. Like, your politicians don't care about you. Those that do don't have enough popular support because, again, the communists were our enemy in the 80s, and socialism will almost certainly lead to communism. and not like better standards of living all around.
Yeah.
And you can't. It is the unfortunate truth that you can't convince people to break that that mode of thought by being like, well, let me tell you about Kropotkin. You just have to put it in terms of, hey, look,
Be gone. Leave me.
if you think that you're like middle class, and when you get sick,
Calm down. It's over.
chill, calm the. If you think that you're middle class and the idea of taking time off work gives you a minor panic attack, if you'd rather go to work when you're starting to exhibit the signs of exhaustion because you realize
Forget that ever.
you are replaceable, and they have no problem being like, well, you didn't meet your KPIs this time, and even though you had those days off, we don't really encourage you to use them. You're not middle class. You're just as vulnerable as everybody else.
Man can scream. How he can suffer.
I mean, one of my favorite things to do is to bring up the paradox of Scandinavia. You know, when people are like, well, what are your solutions? What kind of things would you like to see? And then start bringing up the socialist programs in Scandinavia. And then when they inevitably counter with, but those countries are capitalists, they're not socialists, follow it up with, well, then why don't we do them here?
Right.
To be capitalists.
Right.
Crimson like blood.
Like if they're capitalists, we can do that too.
I cannot hear them.
Like there's no reason why we shouldn't have things like universal basic income.
So universal basic income is one of those topics that like it's really complex, and there's a lot of like details that need to be ironed out when you're discussing it, because inflation is a thing, and a lot of the like value of universal basic income could get eaten if there also isn't a thing like controls on rents.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Yes, inflation is a thing, but inflation is a thing because money is imaginary, and the value of it is imaginary.
Hendrik screamed.
And the saddest thing that we as a society have done, he said as he watches a cutscene of, you know, this guy's village getting razed. The saddest thing that we have as a society have done is made ourselves absolutely reliant on an imaginary concept that changes at whim.
I mean, it may be imaginary, but it is an effective way of rationing goods and services. The problem is that with money, you run into the problem of, because it is so imaginary, people come up with ways to take money in order to make more money. So they're creating more imaginary substance from imaginary substance, and that inevitably is going to fall apart.
Yet the village froze
Yeah,
like in the
and that's the thing. Like
In that hut when they rode off.
the comment, give me your imaginary money if you think it's imaginary. Joke's on you. I don't even have imaginary money.
I mean, it is imaginary. That doesn't mean it doesn't have effect on the real world.
Right. Like
I mean, I could say some controversial
look
statements
at
right now.
religion. But no, like look at this whole non-fungible token shenanigans, right? You too can pay to make money off of a JPEG that is yours.
Yes. Pay enough money and you too can claim to own Neon Cat.
Yeah, you can be like, oh, I own this work of art and it is worth this much. Is it though? Is it? Like the entire idea of stocks is offensive to me.
Especially in the form that they are now. In their original form, when they were a way to have insurance for a company, I mean, I get that, like where stocks started out at, but where they are now, especially when you get into things like derivatives, like that. I as someone who worked in the finance field, looked at a lot of things in finance and just found that like they don't make any sense.
I don't know how you avoided being like even more viciously radicalized than I am.
I mean, I am. I'm just not super loud about it.
Gotta be a space under this rubble.
Like I'm
Guess I should
definitely
get some
on
cleaning.
the side of
Marxian.
most businesses should be cooperatives, and you know, I'm a huge fan of workplace democracy.
See, now that's the other sad thing. As Phil just put up, Skydaddy said the poor don't deserve our intangible wealth. He said the exact opposite. Maybe they missed something. We're gonna go straight for the trousers first.
Pockets.
Yeah,
Trousers are stiff.
his pockets.
They've hung out to dry midwinter. Maybe hid something in his jerkin.
So
Damn,
there's a
he's cold as ice.
concept
Nothing here.
that mutualists are a big fan of,
Should check his boots.
called
Blood.
labor notes.
Congealed. Key in his
So
boots.
labor notes are an alternative currency that isn't
Gotta fit a
money.
keyhole. Somewhere
And
nearby
one
a
of
plate.
the benefits of labor notes is that while they can be exchanged for goods and services, they can't change hands. Like, if I give you labor notes, they don't then become your labor notes. Like, I exchange them for something else of value from you. There were like several experiments done of using labor notes, and they seem to work fairly effectively as a means of having a market without having money.
But like that, like who determines the value of the labor note, though?
The society does. The individual community decides on its value.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for the smaller scale.
Was left unlocked on display. Almost lost his mind, or
Trying to find the right words, but also pay attention to the Witcher senses. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that like there's always going to be somebody, you know, we talk about how things like, you know, like universal basic income and those concepts are hard to maintain because of things like inflation, right?
Yeah.
Labor notes will get inflated in just the same way. There's always going to be somebody who is looking for, but there is a way that I can get rich off of this. And it doesn't matter what the currency is. It can be as stupid as a picture of a Shiba Inu
for a sack of
with a
grain.
goofy expression on its face. And someone's going to be like, now I am a millionaire and have worth. I just increased the value of my Dogecoin.
Clever.
And I don't know what's going to be required for, like, as a society for us to break out of that mindset.
Interesting headings.
Phil just asked, so how would that work from community to community,
Missing and
like from one
wanted.
state to the next?
Subject
So the
to
idea
release
is
direct.
that
Society
communities
no
form
grab.
federations,
Appearance unchanged.
and those federations
Hair,
come up
scar on
with
her face.
agreements
Avoids
between each
contact with
other
others.
for how to trade different goods and services.
Pumpkin swine.
At that point,
So-called
once you
baron
get up
hosted
beyond
subject to
the
his
like
castle.
small scale
Shall I
local
say,
markets, you
legal
may decide that
appropriate fort.
it's all
Reason unknown.
decommodified.
Talk to Baron at
That
Crow's
that
Perch.
just different communities and different federations of communities
Subject
would
landed
trade
in
based
swamp,
on
encountered a witch. Conflict ensued.
what they need, as opposed to necessarily
Find
what
the
is
witch.
valued at what.
Talk to the peasantry. Village of Midcopse. Caution advised.
Oh man, I think that socialism does tend to work better on
Settling signs.
like governmental scales.
Water in bucket froze solid.
You know, like
Observing the sky.
communism works better,
Say,
in my opinion. I should read Matt Brunig thought. I'll check it out. Communism tends to work better on like the smaller the scale, the easier it is to
Siri. Thus the torture.
sort of
I'm too late.
lock in the idea of that it is voluntary.
Witch.
And that's the only way that communism works, is communism has to be voluntary. It can't be state mandated.
Yeah.
Socialism, however, absolutely can be state-run.
But it can also end up being authoritarian, which takes a lot of the added value out of socialism.
Yeah, and the tricky part. Come on, use the ladder, Gerald. Doing a weird little dance here. Climb. Going ahead and just bugged everything.
So, momentary spoiler as you prepare to go to the Baron's castle. When you get there, he's going to basically ask you to start searching for his missing daughter.
Well, the momentary spoiler is I may be defeated by the hardest boss in the game, CD Projekt's Red's use of ladders.
What is going on here?
I don't know. I'm hitting the use button, but Geralt apparently can't climb.
You could always try, yeah.
Okay.
Exiting out and coming back in.
Let's just load the game.
But yeah,
save slot.
There's a very funny moment when, like, you go to talk to the Baron, and he's gonna get you to like look for his daughter. And one of the things that Geralt can do is like, hey, can I look through her quarters if that was the last place she was seen? And the Baron will like give you pushback against it, where he's like, I don't want anyone pawing through her things. And Geralt can be like, I'll be respectful, and then immediately go in and start like
start pawing through her things.
Drawer.
Yeah, okay. All right. Oh. Yeah, I think I'm going to be defeated by the ladder boss. All right, so let's load this checkpoint. But no, it's you know, one of the biggest misconceptions that that a lot of people tend to have is that, like, yeah, things like universal basic income. What, with the ladder?
Yes.
Yeah.
You may have to go back before the previous save point.
Yeah, I went back to the latest like autosave checkpoint. Oh, but I'm still down in the basement. Okay. Just let me climb. That's jump. That's use. Oh. Okay. We have defeated the ladder boss. I am a good gamer. Now we're gonna save. Okay. Keep private equity tax. Yeah, tax IPOs, mergers, trades, one-time large taxes area makes tax fund the sovereign wealth fund. Yes, I agree with that, and that's the thing. Ideally, I'm much more radical in my economic thought than I think is practical. Right? I have a utopian mindset that just says, hey, people will help each other if given the chance.
And I mean, that is borne out by like sociological studies.
Right. But we have to like the only way that I think that we can build society that serves to promote those values is to devalue the concept of wealth. You know, like we've used wealth as a metric for personal success for far too long. Is there a key around here that I can get in that? Because I doubt that I will remember to come back here.
I don't know.
Yeah, but like I'm a fan of the idea of as Tumblr meme worthy as it is, of a maximum wage.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I think that after you make $100 million, you should get a like a plaque that says congratulations, you won capitalism, and
so you might
then
be able to
everything
blow,
after that
you might be able to blow that door open with
Ard.
With Ard.
All right, well, get Ard. Knock, knock. Nope.
Yeah.
Do I have to melt
You
this?
tried.
Yeah. Well. An attempt was made.
And while we're on the topic, the whole idea that
Yeah, like wealth
So
wealth is just a part of power. We can't devalue it because it has value. Wealth is
value is an arbitrary
value is an
conception.
arbitrary conception. Like we can't devalue it because there are because those that have it keep telling us how important it is. And we should largely ignore those people and stop letting them push us around. But it is a hard sell because we've worked ourselves in a into a position where, you know, somebody with wealth can literally solve all of the problems that an individual has by giving a fraction of that, right? But there's no reason why Jeff Bezos should be allowed to keep all of that money. There's no reason why Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or any of the oligarchs should be allowed to continue doing that.
Phil is heading out. Let's give him a shout out.
Bye, Phil. You have too many L's in your name. It offends me on a linguistic level.
But yeah, so like just how sociology studies have shown that like if people have the capability to do so, they will help out other people. Like one of the conservative capitalist talking points is like, if you provide people welfare, they're all lazy and they won't work. And sociology studies have also shown that's not true. People do want to work. They do want to do something. They just want what they're doing to be something that they feel means something.
Yeah.
Like, working in a cubicle farm as a human robot is not fulfilling and people don't want to do it. But if you give them the opportunity to do something that actually, like, means something and they can see the positive effects of what it is, they will want to work.
Well, and also like doing the work that people find personally satisfying. You know, like everybody has a okay. There we go. Everybody has something that they want to do, right? Even if it's just a hobby or
Dance.
hang on, I gotta dance first. I gotta get the horse to start. Geralt would be the way that I ride horses. Geralt would be excellent at dressage. But like I would love to I would love to do more writing. But it's time consuming, and the vast majority of the people that like share these hobbies and passions, if you join like a writing support group, you know, people that'll like beta read your stuff or provide constructive criticism or critique. Nobody's got the time because everybody's exhausted from working at the jobs that they don't want to go to. You know, Amanda has so many fantastic ideas for writing projects that she wants to do. And then it gets difficult because by the time that she gets home from her job at Home Depot, she needs to sleep. You know, like, so your time is spent either working or recovering from work, and you don't really have the time to do anything else. I I think that a benefit to promoting things like universal income would be a rapid and EOS taxes would help with that. Yeah. I think that you would see an explosion of things like art.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because
I mean,
all of the people that want to make that art and want to invest the time to improve in that craft, the people that are passionate about making music, the people that are that are excited about making visual media, people that want to write new stories or become authors, comics, any medium you can think of. If they aren't desperately worried about their survival, that's what they're going to spend their time focusing on.
Take it easy.
Just a little short.
I mean, that's basically what Kropotkin talks about in Conquest of Bread.
Absolutely.
Is, once we have gotten to the point where people's basic needs are met, they can then begin doing the things that they find personally fulfilling.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things that I've talked about recently over the last couple of years or so is, like, why do we work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week? Why is that a standard work week when the amount of value produced per worker has only skyrocketed over the last, like, few decades?
Now we have the technology to, I mean, like how much of the work that we did when we were cubicle dwellers, how much of the work that we did was functionally bullshit?
Yeah.
Like it was just there to take up our time because we had to be there for 8 hours. If you can get the work done in 3, then you couldn't just, hang out for another 5. You had to, well, here's a task. Yeah, I guess I'll go through and reorganize all the old spreadsheets. Why am I doing this? Well, you got to do something.
As an aside, can we talk about how ridiculous this castle is?
I haven't even taken note.
It's
made of wood.
An island.
Yeah.
With only one way on or off. So anyone who wanted to besiege it, all they'd have to do is burn that wooden bridge, and everyone on board would be trapped indefinitely. Like, it is not a good design.
I mean, maybe not defensible placement. I see you. Ow! I see you, and I was not fast enough to dodge.
You just got randomly attacked?
I mean, it says they're the Baron's henchmen, so I don't know why these guys are so aggro. But,
yeah, I don't know either.
Hey, God. So I hope he's not mad that I just slaughtered a couple of his boys.
Yeah, I don't know why they're so aggro either.
Maybe it's because there is a theft mechanic. I did go in and, like...
take some stuff, I saw
Yeah.
it.
And then
That's
I walked outside and they lobbed an arrow at me and I'm like, hey now.
I wonder if they added that in a later, like, patch to the game or something.
Aaron Stranger presumed kidnapped. So it's so Anna Stranger and what was the name of the daughter?
Tamara.
Tamara. Put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. What do we think about ending ethanol purchases and having the government buy up crashing farm prices? I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of those markets. Like, thoroughly honest, I have not. I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on economics in the slightest. I am an idealist. I think that it's I think that it's bullshit that we have so many people starving when there are guys making millions of dollars off of trading imaginary ideas.
To answer for me personally, I'm not a big fan of subsidies to defend
one brave
quote
enough to help
unquote
me.
too big to fail businesses.
Hi, Moo. Hey, smug cowboy. Moo has decided that he wants to co-pilot. Here's a question though. Do you hate farmers, or do you hate the fact that they get government welfare where the rest of us don't?
How about that? Takes a tired old man not to
So
pay
maybe
to
in the
run
future,
my
John,
affairs.
just don't rob anything that's in like a
A quest,
faction
yeah,
area.
like I don't know where faction area.
Well, I mean, like if you're in an area where there's like a major big quest giver, don't take stuff there. Like I don't remember ever
Greetings.
running into a
Greetings
situation
to
that
you.
aggroed.
Other villagers all scurried
People
off
like
soon as
that.
they saw me. You didn't.
I'm too old to scurry. Besides, what could you do to me? Kill me?
See, all these
Go ahead.
people are just
I've not long to live.
hitting on
Can't
Geralt.
hide? Wouldn't work. Your skin's right brittle.
No, like I think that so like American agriculture's in a weird kind of position, right? We produce enough food to feed everybody in our country. More than enough food. We
export a very large amount.
we export a very large amount, and then the rest of it we throw away and leave to rot. Right? Like we discard a shocking amount of food rather than give it away because that would lower the value of it. But at the same time, the problem is the value is imaginary and indeterminate.
Lived here long.
You know, so
Since I was born.
yeah, getting paid to not sell crops is that's crap. There are people starving. Give it to them. Give it to them. There's no reason not to give it to them. Well, except that
Going through the front gate.
somebody further up the capitalist chain won't make money off of it.
You were to make an humble offering.
And if you tell people that they can have something for free, well, then they expect it for free
Right direction.
because it should be free.
Yeah. Like, do we want to get into the whole topic of commodifying water?
Don't
No, we do not.
arguing with the guards.
I mean, like, and this is, you know, like, you don't have to read theory to get this. They were commodifying air and Spaceballs. Like, this is classic movie villain crap, you know?
Yeah.
Found the boy in the river.
This is,
He drowned.
Tragic.
we need to stop idolizing, like, as a society, we need to stop idolizing or even giving credence to people that behave like villains in crappy 80s movies.
Clever man.
I do not understand the internet's fascination with Elon Musk.
Found the lad's body. Northwest.
He is legit
Wait till you find
a
an
supervillain
entrance to
backstory.
Yeah, he wants to go to space. He's
a track that weaves through
Lex Luthor warned us about this.
The only reason why he is rich is because his
then go on,
father
straight as
owned
piss, till
a
you get to the
emerald
crossroads.
mine in apartheid
right
South
again.
Africa
Then
that
follow
used
that path
de
up a
facto
hill.
slave labor,
Shrine
and he
stands
stole emeralds
Right
from
past
his
the bridge.
father's
Yeah,
mine.
Right
he's a self-made man. No, he's not.
Thanks.
No, he's not. There is no self-made man. You know, it's just, it's frustrating. You know, it's
See, you're a man well traveled.
my situation, and it's always, you know, this always comes with like a host of caveats. I was raised with the perception that that we were like that my family was upper middle class. At various times in our life, we actually like suffered relatively extraordinary poverty, but we covered it well because there was such a huge push from the culture in which we lived to engage in enough conspicuous consumption that we didn't come off as poor.
Yeah, my family was much the same way.
Yeah. And then you know, like, so like I, you know, saved up and went to college, and while in college I worked 4 jobs and got on scholarship so that I could afford to go to college, because at that time that was the quote unquote normal track. Now, I went to college for an incredibly unmarketable degree. I went to go study theater.
Passage must be somewhere around here.
In retrospect, a mistake. Not studying theater. That's been full of all kinds of useful skills. But where I went to study was also influenced by that culture.
I mean, I went to college, but I went to college because I was part of the Great American Jobs Program, aka the U.S. military.
Mm-hmm. Which I never could have qualified for. The spinal surgery at 18 knocked me out of the physical running.
Yeah.
So no military for young John. Hey, homeboy was fat and couldn't run anyway, but also you know, can you carry a 50-pound rucksack? No, not unless you want my spine to break.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we get to water mechanics.
Yeah, I highly recommend, like, sooner rather than later, go for that, the skill for combat that lets you fire 2 crossbow bolts.
So that I can do underwater fighting.
Yeah, because especially when you get to Skellige, you're gonna be fighting sirens and harpies, and the only way to really fight them is with your crossbow.
Oh, and to answer your question, Captain, the theatra. We went to study the theatra, but we performed in theaters. Do I have to dive under all this, or can I hop out onto this ledge?
I think you can surface now.
There we go. Maybe. Oh, we may have run into the second ladder boss. But yeah, but I went to study the theatra because I wanted to be an actor. It was something that I enjoyed and found fulfilling, and I put in a decade of work, and it was ultimately the political. Come on, it was ultimately the political like landscape of the time. I got ostracized from the cultures that I was a part of because I voted Democrat. And in 2000, early 2000s era Abilene, that was functionally the same as saying that I loved the Satan and didn't believe.
You didn't vote for our Connecticut-born Yale graduate cheerleader Texan president?
I think that physical therapy, any therapeutic endeavor, is a worthwhile and worthy endeavor. Like, I think that our main goal really should be help people as much as you can, because there's people that need help. And if you can help in some way, and especially then if you can also, like, you know, do so in a way that, ooh, that ain't good. Lady.
Don't forget your torch.
Oh yeah, I do have a torch. Inventory.
Later on in the game, you'll get there's an alchemy potion called Cat Eye that lets you see in the dark, and it's very useful.
That in pocket. Isn't it?
Water hags are a good target for Igni.
Good to know.
They don't like being set on fire.
I mean, I don't know anybody that does. No, that's a lie. I actually if it's controlled, but
Eventually, you're going to fight trolls a few times in the game, and they will completely ignore fire.
how do I use pocket stuff again? A button for that. There's my control scheme.
Don't forget to put your horse blinders on Roach. I see him there in your inventory, and he's not wearing them.
Options, controller settings. Right. Scheme. Where is use button in pocket? Around press, change objective. Use quick access item. Right bumper.
That's it. Yep.
Except don't do.
Because you don't have one selected. You need to go to your little wheel and select one.
Ah. All right. Did you saw the horse blinders in my inventory?
Yeah, but they weren't on Roach on the right-hand side. The
There
horse
we go.
blinders make it where he's less likely to panic.
I think
I think
Yeah,
Roach is a she.
I think Roach is a they. Like, he just keeps renaming all of the horses, right?
Yeah, every time his horse dies and he gets a new one, it's a Roach.
All right. Now we're cooking with Torch. Ooh, a superior saddle. But yeah. No, it's the realization that like all of the stuff that that I struggled with in terms of the vast levels of injustice in the world. Look at my new and I've experienced far less of that than other people. You know, I'm a mediocre cisgendered heterosexual white guy. Like, my struggles have not been comparatively much. That doesn't invalidate them, but there's no reason why we shouldn't do more to help our fellows. You know.
Yeah, of course.
It is a hard sell for people who are profit motivated. Like, well, but then that means that I have to take less. Well, yeah, but that's okay, because then you'll have other people there to help you.
I mean,
Okay,
there have been
I need to be back in the cave.
there have been so many studies done by psychologists about like CEOs and lawyers and major stock traders and stuff like that show that the people who are in those like high profit motivated jobs have an increased likely to have either BPD or psychopathy, and it's kind of like yeah.
Like, I could have told you that. I've met them.
Light. I must be close.
Explore around here. Ooh, a woven silver sword. I'm using the Viper silver sword now, so.
I mean, eventually, if you go travel around and like find all the little like weapons caches and stuff like that are hidden all over the map, there are some really badass magical swords you can pick up.
I'm here for whatever Malgoth shenanigans I can get into.
The the coolest one that I have found in the game. And if you really like a sword, you can always have a blacksmith reforge it so it's better. But the one that I like the most is one that has a chance to just ignite enemies. Like it increases the likelihood that you can just light an enemy on fire.
Metal. Okay. I
think you have to go up. I think there might be a ladder around here somewhere. Another boss
ladder?
fight.
Okay. No. So like this may be running into the same kind of problems that I had with Senua, where it was like I'd just run against a wall for a while and be like, "What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing?" Oh, there it is. Excellent game recommendation, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I did play it after getting my eyes dilated, which in retrospect was probably not the best of ideas.
You played it with your headphones on?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Full on creepy whispers in your ears?
Yeah. But I also every visual jump scare got to me because my eyes were super sensitive to light for several hours. I was like, ha, 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 ha. Getting hit from both ends.
What'd you think of their interpretation of Viking mythology?
Of the Norse mythology? Pretty good.
Yeah.
Much more down to earth in the grim and gritty sort of sense. I like the fact you don't usually see Pix as a protagonist choice. I personally appreciated that quite a bit.
So Crusader Kings 3, I don't know if you've ever played any of the Paradox Interactive games. That came out just like a few months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and already the modding community has like really taken it and run with it. But a mod came out yesterday that I've downloaded but not played yet, called Tales of Ireland. So normally, like, Crusader Kings 3 is a map of all of Eurasia and Africa north of the Congo. So basically, like, all the way to the very edge of China in the east, all the way south to just north of the Congo, and then all the way north to, like, the Arctic Circle.
Right.
This is a total conversion mod that takes that whole map and just makes it Ireland. And it's Ireland at such a scale that all, like, 1,200 counties of Ireland are represented on the map. But it's meant to be like you play through the mythology of Ireland.
Oh, good.
So you have to deal with like the Tuatha De Danann and the Firbolg and like all of the various mythological creatures whose names I'm mispronouncing.
Oh yeah, no, don't. Man, I have gotten decent in like conversational Scots Gaelic. Irish Gaelic is still beyond me. Like it is like trying to speak with a mouthful of marbles. Yeah, I'll drink with this dude.
Why not?
He's gonna try and poison me, isn't he?
He's not. He's a
Okay,
really
good.
cool guy. I like of all the NPCs that you run into, I think he's really cool. I like him a lot. His whole quest line is a lot of fun. It can turn out about a dozen different ways. Like there's a dozen different possible endings. without spoiling how I got there, the ending I ended up going to, he ends up hanging himself at the end of it. But learning about all of the choices that got me there, I wouldn't have changed anything. Because I still feel like I made the right choice along the way at every step.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have time for, how do you like it here in Velen? Don't care.
Didn't come here to talk about the scenery.
I picked a bunch of your flowers, my guy. Just, yeah.
And the local swamps and bogs, they're interesting to say the least.
Yeah, there's a, I ended up looking up, like, what the quote-unquote everybody lives solution is of all of the different choices, and without spoiling what it requires, there's basically one
Just
requires
your moral compromise as a person.
Yeah, like there's one step in the process where I'm like, yep, not doing that.
What's that supposed
Definitely
to mean?
not doing that. That is a bridge too far.
As clever as I suspected you'd be.
I don't know if I'm just getting off on the wrong foot with this guy, but he's not particularly impressing me.
He comes off as a dick at first. It's only later as the storyline progresses more that you find out he does have some redeemable traits, and he is willing to do whatever it takes to save his family.
Well, I mean, most people are.
Yeah.
I don't know, he ain't special.
Said some beasts from the woods attacked her before she could reach the village.
Girl. Siri, you spent all of that time training tumbling. So is this the first time where I play as Siri?
Yes.
Ooh.
And you'll get to do it a whole bunch more.
I have a poignard.
When she dodges, she teleports.
When you play as Siri, you cannot access the inventory or use signs.
That was close. I must leave this place.
And I don't have my my Witcher sense.
Correct.
So for her, it's more just like straight up the combat side of things.
Yeah, her sections are very linear too. You're not going to be going off and doing a whole lot of investigating.
She needs help.
Well, that's cool though. I mean, I still haven't played it. I owned it, but I'm saving it until I can set up an additional stream. This is just Final Fantasy 15, right?
What are you talking about?
Combat-wise, like the whole teleporty shenanigans.
She doesn't teleport that far. When she dodges, she'll move the same distance that Geralt does. She just teleports instead of rolling.
You can calm down.
There's all these feral children in Fantasy Poland.
I mean, there's been a war on, and a lot of adults have been killed.
Hello there. Are you lost? A little, I guess. Are you?
Yeah, constantly.
Yes. Also just a little.
I managed to get to the Whataburger today, and
Not quite.
that's like the second farthest trips I've taken from my house
What happened to you?
in months.
This?
So yes, I am constantly lost.
Nothing.
You want a cool facial scar?
How did you wind up here? My father brought me. Told me to follow the trail of treats and eat my fill.
Okay, so here's a question, kind of getting back to the chat.
Down the trail. Then I saw a butterfly.
Captain says, I just want to make money. I'd sell derivatives if I thought I could profit. But to what purpose?
You and your father.
Putting rims on a gold jet ski.
This morning. And did
Right,
the
like,
sun warm your face
2
or your
chains?
back?
3 chains?
My back.
More chains?
So we must go east. Come, I'll walk you home. And explain to
I'm
you.
like, yeah, I too, I would like to make money,
Can't go home 'cause of the wind.
because otherwise, you know, they take away my home. but I would much rather not have to.
And you've seen him?
Yes, I mean,
That would be super cool.
from behind a tree. He was huge.
I want to be
Giant
rich enough that I
eyes
can
and
afford to
fangs
take a
and
cruise a
terribly,
year.
disgustingly horrific.
And that really isn't asking that much.
See, I would love to be wealthy enough that people that I know also aren't worried about where they're going to live.
Kings do too. Come.
Like, you know, if it was the kind of thing where, you know, my wealthy secret uncle died and, you know, had been following me on social media and liked my hot takes, and decided to leave me, you know, $150 million, I would literally just buy, like, a small apartment complex and rent it out to people that I know for, like, cost, you know? Like, hey, I'm gonna need this much to get the AC fixed. Everybody chip in. Ooh, I don't have any foods. I should make a point to...
I think she heals over time.
Oh, well. Just dodge, dive, dip, and dodge.
Yeah. As part of the whole Ciri having elder blood is one of the things she has is healing over time. So like I don't know how familiar you are with the mythology in this.
Not.
But like
I have not I have not read the books. I saw the Netflix series.
Yeah. So you watch the opening like cinematic of this, right?
Yeah.
Of so where they talked about the conjunction of the spheres.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where all magic and also monsters came into the world. And it was basically the elder races, elves, and then the precursors to humans that caused that to happen. And a handful of people in the world have elder blood, like Ciri is one of them.
Yeah.
And that lets them do like crazily powerful magical acts.
Something within claws.
Like her mom in the Netflix series, where she basically like shut down that entire room and practically destroyed everything in it. That's the kind of thing that like people with elder blood can do without even trying.
Phenomenal cosmic power.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree, Rob. Those are like, that is not normal wolf behavior. These wolves are particularly frisky. Like, usually you hit one of them and they're like, "No, this is not worth it." There are deer out there.
Wait here. Don't come any closer.
But
No buts. Stay here. I must see something.
Feral children can be used as early warning devices and trap sponges. Start with the eyes.
Bloodshot, but still moist. He died recently.
CSI, Fantasy Poland.
Lips parted and bloated. Bit clear through his tongue. Immense pain before death. His chest is crushed. Ribs probably pierced his lungs.
Feral children used as pets. The problem is that the feral children usually have a grasp of language, which makes them significantly less cute.
Something tore his leg off. No, gnawed it off.
ew, that's horrible.
Stay there and look away.
You want to take a guess as to what the Wolf King is?
Marrow's missing.
Werewolf?
Yep, you're gonna have to fight a big ass werewolf.
Be still my beating heart.
Oh, his liver's gone.
Why are you digging through his belly?
Would you mind making certain your laces are tied?
Coming up, it's a werewolf.
It seems. Except he's a werewolf.
Or because the liver is missing, he's a Baptist who's eating at Luby's.
Had a
A bunch of wolves strapped together.
When did children get
Just a Katamari Damacy of wolves.
Find us.
Good question. I've no silver, but I can make a blade oil.
I mean, that is what a rat king is.
Precisely.
We make from rapeseed.
No, a far more special oil.
So I haven't played it yet, but I have seen
Fool's parsley. and
gameplay of it. The Last of Us Part 2, one of the bosses in that game is the Rat King. And it is a whole bunch of zombies all mushed together.
My Uncle Vesemir.
And that is unpleasant.
That sounds like a gnarly boss fight. Besides, aren't I haven't played the Last of Us game, so I may just be talking out of my ass here, but aren't the zombies in that game like fungal?
Yes. Yeah, that's basically how they're all stuck together, is because the fungus has overgrown them and caused them to fuse.
Goose.
Yeah.
That's something that I enjoy using in the in my D&D campaigns. Is I think that like myconids and the Demon Queen Zugmatoi are fun to use.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the various fungal people in D&D. Also, talking about D&D, like, and the comment earlier with these very persistent wolves, I'm definitely a big fan in RPGs of making enemies realistic. Like, eventually they're gonna get to a point where they're like, nah, I'm just gonna surrender or run away.
They're gone.
Because, like, I'm not being paid enough to die over this.
The Wolf King will be angry.
It's dead. But a pig here?
I mean, if they see an opportunity for surrender, that is.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely couldn't see those ghouls surrendering against Mad Tam. That probably would have been a bad idea.
Nah, no problem.
All right. I have everything. Now for a spot where I can build a fire.
That last wolf had
Brew the
some
oil in
pep in
peace.
its step.
No
Jump-
kidding. Like he's he's a toughie. I don't know if using the control has the same. I keep I think Senua may have influenced me too much. I keep trying to switch target by like
We'll see just how
thumbing the
effective
right
Uncle
stick,
Vesemir's formulae are.
and that does not work in this game. I am forced to be much more positionally aware. Hey. There's there was a little like timer looking thing under my
Belly's all in blood.
under my health bar. I don't know what that means.
The wolves did this.
I don't know.
Like it was definitely counting down, and that immediately filled me with a sense of dread. The wolves should unionize. But I don't support monarchy even in the animal kingdom.
This way, through the cave.
You lead.
So what are here's a question for you, Tom, apropos of nothing and not relating to our political landscape. What were your thoughts on the death of Prince Philip?
It's
The
dark.
cultural reaction from that.
No.
I mean, the entire British royal family could fall off a cliff, and I wouldn't mind.
You and I agree on that regard, my friend.
I mean, there are some royals in some countries that actually do something of value, but for the British, the amount that they take compared with the amount that they give back, in my opinion, would not be worth it. And I mean, I think last time they did a major poll of the British people, I think like
Did I already apply the wolf oil automatically?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, good.
But the last time that they did polling of the like popularity of the British royal family, like basically like asking people in the UK like, would you like to transition to a republic? It's now approaching 50%.
Yeah, I saw one take that was like, no, the royals are still important because they bring they bring billions of dollars in tourism.
Like bro, the palaces will still be there when they're gone.
Yeah, I mean, you can put up a statue of David Bowie and people will flock to see it. Like,
I mean, they do. There is one.
yes.
You're lucky we came this way. Found someone far
Like
less
people go to England for cheeky Nando's and banter. You don't need an oligarchical class that hangs on to the idea of divine right. An idea that is only made popular by a bunch of inbred Germans. Like you don't need that to promote people to come to your country.
He laid a claw or two on
You
me,
have silly accents. People will come to hear that. That's why Texas gets a lot of tourism. That and barbecue, like.
Very well. Lead us to your lord.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of like political dynasties in general. All right. So we are a couple of hours in. I say let's get to a good stopping point and close down for the night so that I can make some delicious food.
Yeah, you should be jumping back to Geralt any minute now.
Awesome.
Well, might not be yours, the older one, but you've got to admit the likeness.
So this dude's trying to cash in on like, hey, I found Tamara. That's not Tamara. It's Tamara adjacent. It looks like she could be a Tamara. So, I brought you something that is generally like your daughter. You gonna pay me?
I'd not eaten in.
Clear to see. I'm pleased you like it. Had them prepare a bath for you once you've eaten, and you could do with some sleep. Gretka in the nook behind the hearth.
The likeness is downright striking. Like she doesn't look anything.
Yeah.
You'll run into Tamara later, and they don't look anything alike.
She is human shaped. Yeah, like the weird thing to me was seeing everybody's like, oh my god, Prince Philip, that dude was 99 years old.
And
I mean, he looked like the Walking Dead already.
Yeah, like I was surprised that he wasn't dead already.
the little girl who showed up here with Ciri, what happened to her?
Gretka, she's safe and sound.
It was a very weird moment, but like
Parents, what they decided.
it's always confused me why Americans, especially with all of our rah freedom, yay revolution, we're the best thing to ever come from Britain rhetoric. I don't know why we have any fascination with the royals at all.
I just did some quick Googling. I didn't realize he was Greek.
Sharp you are.
I didn't care.
I regret your loss. Commiserate.
Congratulations,
But you
you're a
see, it
prince.
so happens my wife and daughter are missing as well. I propose
Prince Philip of the House of
exchange.
Glucksburg.
Find my loved ones, and I shall tell you.
How is Glucksburg doing these days?
all I know.
I mean, it only rules Denmark. So
Oh, well, good for Glucksburg.
Because I just don't want to.
Would you tell me to sod off? Go ahead, but then I'll tell you the same. And what'll that make us? Two helpless, empty-handed sods.
My hands aren't empty. I've got two swords.
Think of it as
They call me Jimmy Two Swords.
your own daughter. Ought to go
Yeah,
quick.
dude, I'm gonna
When do you see them?
trying to get through the dialogue options. I will find your daughter. I'm here to play the game.
Whisked away by shadows.
What do you to know a lot more than that. Can I see their rooms?
What for?
I need clues. Anything to latch onto.
I've got cat eyes, dude. Just give me a cent.
Let a stranger pour through their belongings.
Want me to find them or not?
Let me snoop. Let me snoop.
Then let me work.
Snoop.
Yeah, this investigate, like, I would say this would probably be a good stopping point, because this investigation at the castle takes a bit.
All right. So from here, we shall save the game. I cannot save my game right now. Kapow. Save the game. The Bloody Baron. All right. And yeah, that's where we will call it for this evening's journey through Fantasy Poland. We managed to find sad family missing Santa, kill a couple of hags, get in trouble with the local guard, and play a Ciri for the first time. So next time, the frog hunt is off until level 30. That'll be a while. I didn't realize that was the DLC content. But the next time, next Monday, we will dive into snooping through some folks' personal belongings, rifling through drawers, and then finding a non-Ciri shaped daughter on our quest to find the Ciri shaped daughter. So yeah, as always, thanks for hanging out with us. Tom, thank you so much for coming on the call.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah, I'd love for you to do this with me every week, just because it allows me to focus on not dying to the wolves. And the advice is always helpful, because I still don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. And if I'm only getting a couple of hours of play a week, I won't know what I'm doing for a while. But as always, please feed the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you were amused by our banter. Feel free to leave a comment. Tell me what other games I should play, because I've been out of this for a while and can use your recommendations. Like we said earlier, Tom recommended Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and that was a fantastic title. As those game recommendations are given, I will add them to my Steam wishlist and buy them when they get on sale, because I don't have any of the imaginary money. And yeah, if you're I'll be doing like later random streams throughout this week is one of my goals. Maybe stream some Overwatch, or even just dick around on WoW. And if you're feeling lonely, come join. That's really why I wanted to start doing this. It's still going to be a while before we get the whole pandemic thing under control, and a lot of people are suffering from the long-term isolation, and you don't have to. There are people out here. We have the technological infrastructure to reach out across the world and hang out and have fun conversations and play fun games. And I think that's more important now than ever. So come hang out. But I am going to go figure out what I'm going to do for food. So any last words, Tom? Any last thoughts?
Nothing for me. It was fun to be here, and I hope to be here next week.
Yeah, well, we will see you guys then. And my last thought, get vaccinated, fuck political dynasties. See you guys next time.